Hello, hello. I'm just going to make sure the audio is coming through here. Hello, hello. All right, we've got audio, so this is perfect. So, welcome. We're just going to have a little bit of fun today. So a lot of times people say, "Hey, Brent, what do you actually have going on?" You've got Eastpoint, you've got Advanced 3D, you've got Life Enabled, you have the Prosthetics and Orthotics podcast. Well, one, why do you do all that? And two, what are you up to? And so that's kind of what I wanted to cover today. So, East Point Prosthetics and Orthotics is based out of Kinston, North Carolina, and is in three main locations. So, we're in Raleigh, North Carolina, Kinston, North Carolina, and then Mansfield, Ohio. Um, as we would be considered like a smaller regional company, I guess you would say. And one of the things that we take a lot of pride in is how we incorporate 3D printing into our practice. And so, do we 3D print everything? No, but it is something that we do think about first. And we've made a lot of mistakes. And, there's been some humbling things, for instance, we've had some patients really like FDM printed flexible inner liners. And that's been a little bit of a surprise to us when they've had the opportunity for some sort of powder bed style liner, specifically like TPU. But then on the flip side, we've had some just amazing experiences with the specifically multi-jet fusion BASF TPU, which has been incredible. We've had people that have had wounds forever heal because of some of the things that we do. We've had people be able to be a lot more active than they've ever been before because of this. And so, but that's all thanks to 3D printing. And one of the things that we find that's been very interesting is we have taken literally duplicated sockets and made the same socket with 3D printing, but changed some of the dynamics. So all the shapes are the same. And I think that is what is key is just by changing and turning the dials not on the shapes but on the materials used, we've had some better outcomes. So that's East Point Prosthetics and Orthotics. Advanced 3D is a contract manufacturer for 3D printing, really of anything. We're known for doing stuff for the orthotic and prosthetic field, but because we do that, we also have capacity for other commercial products. And so that's one of the neat things. Sometimes we have these, big prostheses, but we have room for things that are the size of your fist that can fit within the sockets. And so a lot of times we can be pretty aggressive on pricing specifically for those things. And then the other thing that we do is we spend a lot of time not only on the design side of things and how we can do design better, but then also we are looking for materials that really coincide or we do what we feel a prosthesis should do. And so over the years that has evolved. And one of the things that I think is important now as we go into this idea of additive manufacturing and what are some requirements. And one of the things that I think is important is, does it pass the if it fails, can I still get out of the middle of the woods test? And so that can mean a lot of different things, whether it's duct taping things together, but can you, if for whatever reason it fails, crack, break, what have you, can you get out of the woods and make it to a safe place? Or has your prosthesis failed you completely? And so Those are one of the things that I think about. Now, on the life enabled side of things, one of the things that we concentrate in on is how are we able to leverage additive manufacturing to give access to people worldwide that need it. So we're very intense in the material development, 3D printing development. How do we do scanning, automation to really bring down the learning curve of the actual production of the device? I believe that the real bottleneck is skilled clinicians. It's and we want to be able to create consistent devices every single time. And what a better way to do that than with additive manufacturing? You can definitely train, but then also you can email files across the world to somebody that specializes in something and they can email something back to you and you've got a product ready to go. So I think that's pretty neat. And then the Prosthetics and Orthotics podcast with yours Peels and myself. We are halfway through recording for season 10 and we're approaching so we the last I checked we added another country, 107 countries, um, like over 2,300 cities all over the world, and it's just been really great. There's a hunger and thirst for uh, orthotic and prosthetic education, and our guests are amazing. And each time we do this, and we've done it, this will be, we're at like 110 episodes right now, but each time we do it, somebody leaves a nugget of information. So that is what we are up to. And I always like to leave kind of a nugget of information. So many of you have seen that Octane is I don't even know understand how how it goes, but anyway, the Geomagic Freeform, which has been bounced around, the Geomagic suite of softwares has been bounced around to multiple companies, and it appears that it's going to land with Hexagon. I don't have a lot of experience with Hexagon, but what I do know, and just like anything with additive manufacturing, the only thing that matters, I mean, yes, you have intellectual property and that sort of thing, but is the people. And the people that are on the Freeform team are amazing. And there's just no no getting around that. And if they don't mess with that team, that product will still continue to be amazing. And then if if that product can stay in the same place for more than a couple years, I think it has the opportunity to scale. But I think there's probably a little bit of fear of the unknown just because a lot of people don't maybe know the history of how the Geomagic portfolio has worked of pulling the trigger on something like an expensive software like Octane Freeform. So, but what I wanted to show you um, is I'm going to save this file out, and then I want to show you just some screen stuff of that. So I'm saving this out, and then I'll actually show you Freeform. Yeah. So um, before I do that, I want to show you some of the things that I kind of keep me up at night. And one of that is how do we create access to anybody? Like how do you remove any of the barriers to creating a prosthesis and the excuses? As a prosthetist, and I can say this, as a prosthetist, I have created many excuses of why I don't 3D print. And it's too expensive, scanning software is too hard to learn, the 3D printers are expensive. But One of the things that I wanted to show you, and I have it in two different colors here, is the transtibial socket. So we have this automated. So with a bamboo style printer, which is, I don't know what they're going to discount it to for this season, but usually it's about $400, and sometimes you can get it for like $299 depending on the deal. But it's too big to print as one piece. But for $300, $400, how can you go wrong? You can print it in two pieces and put it together. Now, you don't have to design all that. Literally, all you have to do is create that inner surface and put it on a lock body, align it on a lock body, and the rest can be automated. And we do that at Advanced 3D. And so if you want to know more about that, I'm happy to share more about that. But it's a really slick way to go. And you talk about a very low barrier to entry. So, for instance, my friends over at CombScan, they have a 10-day free trial. So you could literally scan a patient, and then my friends at Radii Devices, you could use their software and create a socket, align it on the web app for Advanced 3D, which right now is free. There is going to be a charge for it here in the future, but it's free. So for literally under $500, you could print a socket whenever you get the printer. So tonight. So and then if you didn't want to use Radii devices, you could use ZBrush, Mesh Mixer, Nomad Sculpt, whatever you want, and you put it into the web app, and off you go. And I think that is super powerful. So any of those excuses are completely should be completely out the window. So it looks like somebody has commented. Whatever you want. Okay. Put it into the web app, and off you go. I appreciate that, Enyer, or Laura. I'm not sure, but thank you for commenting and being here. So, what I'm going to show you though is an AFO that I recently did for a friend of mine, and it's kind of wild. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of taste of what we do. So I'm going to try to see. Oh, my super source is not working for some reason. So I'm going to give you a little bit of tour around my shop here. So, or I call it my studio. So let's see, that's camera 2. And I'll get myself out of the way. So this is my setup right here. I use a thumb wheel mouse that Diego Suarez said I should try. Let me see if I can put myself. There we go. Diego Suarez said I should try here. This is my haptic device, so that allows me to move stuff in 3D. I call it my digital sureform, and this is one of the beautiful things about freeform, is I'm able to fully manipulate here. You're seeing a little bit of the corner of my A10 Mini right here. So that's kind of fun, but that's how I control everything. I actually have another camera that's a little bit closer, and so you can see myself here. So let's go back to this camera. All right, so this is Freeform or Freeform Plus. A lot of people ask, what is the difference between Freeform and Freeform Plus? And what I would say is, if you're asking that question, just start with Freeform, and when you feel like you top out, at Freeform, then you need to go to a Freeform Plus. And the big thing that I use for Freeform Plus is I'm able to bring in step files, so full assemblies, so I don't have to export everything out as an STL file, and that's one of the benefits of this. But this AFO is one of those types of things that you can create in Freeform Plus that you can't do in many other softwares. And as you can see here, we've got the Coyote strut here. It is my favorite strut, and they have a bunch of different stiffnesses. If you're not using it, it is such a cost-effective way to go. Super dynamic. It's pretty great. But I've done some kind of crazy stuff here. So we've got a regular foot plate. I've actually duplicated this patient's brace completely. They really liked it, but they wanted to move to a strut style. And then I've added this kind of crazy pad. I have no idea if it's going to work or not, but it's going to be a TPU pad, latticed, so there'll be some airflow, but then I'll be able to put a hole through here and hinge it if necessary. So I think that's pretty neat. But let me see if I can get here and just show you some of the power of Freeform. Okay, so right here is we scanned the device, and then I was able to pretty much duplicate the whole thing. So that's really slick. Yeah. Well, so let's not do it that way, or I'm going to turn all this stuff off. And we'll turn this off, that off. We'll see if we can turn that off, and then we'll get rid of this. So I'm just going to do a couple things here. We'll do an ellipse here. So right now I'm using the haptic device, and I kind of pull that, and I can do a couple things. These are just primitive shapes, but I'll show you where some of the power really comes to be in Freeform itself. So I'm actually able to feel the model itself. I'm trying to grab this handle here. There it is. All right, so we're going to say apply that in a new piece. So let's say you want to do a patellar bar for some reason. There's a couple ways that you can do it, but let's go here. Oops. Escape. Oh. So we're going to activate this piece here. And now, okay, I'm going to close this back down. So let's say you want to do a patellar bar. So let's just pretend that's a patellar bar. You can put in your pipe and choose what size, so that's about a 1/2 inch. And then what we're going to do is take that, and we now have just created ourselves a patellar bar. So I'm not a patellar bar person. So so now what I'm going to do, I'm waiting for this to back up a copy. And this is a very large file, so that's why it's taken a second. Hopefully it won't back itself up. And you can then, if you want to just clean this up and get yourself a nice little smile along the way. So that's one of the ways to do it. You can also do it manually. So you can come in here, and depending on what size tool, you can manually do it. And what I'm doing is I'm actually feeling the model underneath my hand. So I'm gonna cut to um, this here, and so I'm feeling this underneath my hand, and so I'm actually feeling the model here. So let's come back here. All right, so that's that. Let's say you wanted to do a a shelf. So like a posterior shelf. So you're going to just do something. You're going to have to use it. So these are the hamstring channels here. We're going to do a pipe here. And we're going to apply that. So now there's your shelf. And then what you can do is if you want to, you can smooth that whole thing in real nice. And you get that really nice shape here for your hamstring reliefs. So that's one of the cool things that you can do there. Well, what about, say, modifications? So let's do that. Let's say you want to do a distal tibia. So you're just going to have to be a little bit creative with me, but paint it, and you want to make a relief. So that's a 4.5 millimeter relief. You can do it that way. Or there is a function here called haze. I'm just going to open that. And it's kind of a gradient picture. And we'll just make it a little bit smaller. And I'm going to make this like 10 millimeters just so you can see the big difference. But what it does is it gradually eases that transition there. So you can see that it really done a nice job, and then we can come back and smooth it whatever way we want to. There's a couple other really cool tools. There's what's called a tug tool. Let's see where that one is. There it is. And so you can actually pull in, you can pull it out, however you want. So a lot of times, if I want to pull out a hamstring channel of or something like something just looking a little bit too tight, I'll just come over here and pull it out just a little bit, and it's good to go there. Some people ask about measurements, and this is really where things go very right for freeform. I believe in measurements. I think that you should have measurements, and here's how you can get them. So you can go here. You can measure cross sections at whatever you want. You can measure distances, so patellar bar to the end, and there you go. You can also measure thicknesses, so like perpendicular thicknesses. So you're at 171 right there. And then you can, they call this the, what do they call it? The persistent ruler? Yeah. So then you can put a ruler down, and let's say you just wanted to keep that measurement there so you know, some sort of ratio. You can do it that way. So this is a great option. And then let's say you want to put your logo on something. You can do that a couple different ways. And so let's see here. So this is the 3D Systems cube. So let's just open that up. And we say, hey, we're going to do that. And we're going to put it there. Oops. Clear. Let's try that again here. There we go. So you can do, this. So this kind of tiles your 3D Systems logo. And you can change your sizes or what have you. And we'll just apply. So this is a lower or a higher clay coarse or lower clay, higher clay coarseness. So it's a low res, but the lower the clay coarseness goes, you're able to do that. So one of the other neat things is you can put text um, lettering on, so you're able to, if you want to keep track of purchase orders or whatever, you can just boom right in. So that's one of the really great things to do. How long does it take you to make the design? So it really depends. For a traditional, like below the knee prosthesis, you're probably looking maybe about 5 minutes or so. Um, with a, like I say, a drop-in lock or something of that nature. Um, I'm gonna see if I have something here. So let me get out of. Well, I'll leave that for another video. So those are some options there, and you know, if you want to know any more information about freeform, this has been a very freeform conversation. Do let me know. But I do think it is a pretty great resource for prosthetics and orthotics. The way that I look at this is, and I'm going to swap me out here. So the way that I look at freeform is it is the main tool to use to communicate your desires. So is it the fastest tool all the time? It's pretty fast, but there's automation that's faster. But it allows you to literally create any device you want with freeform, and I think that's where the real power is. And then if you can combine that with a Fusion 360 or some sort of automation, like for instance, one of the things that we do is Proteer has a an app, and but they don't allow you to get the mesh out. So a lot of times we'll have our clinicians make a suction socket, and then we'll capture the inside dimension with via freeform, and then make a socket from there. Or you have a company like Spenties that allows you to make adjustments to any sort of mesh, so you're able to modify and that sort of thing, and then you can spit that out into some sort of automation. So I think that's a pretty neat option as well. Uh, One last thing is I'm going to go to our website here. So this is our website, adv3dinc.com. Check it out. Let me know what you think. There's also an opportunity to log in, and that allows you to place orders, raw scans, that sort of thing. We do have to approve you, so make sure you send us a message or an email and let us know that you signed up. We take relationships very seriously. So we work with people that want to work with us, and that's why this funnel exists. Is we want to make sure, and then one of our main focuses is how do we leverage this technology among independent clinicians. So how can somebody that's an independent clinician, one clinician or even a regional clinician that doesn't necessarily have the experience or the design, keep up with a larger company? And I think that is a really important thought when you're looking at this. Is we can be that group that can help you or even take you beyond what the big companies are doing. So I think that's a pretty neat option. We have an FDM printer that we hope to release very soon. So if you're interested in that, um, let us know and we can get you some more information there. So that's what I have for you guys this evening. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to hang out with me. If you have any questions, shoot me a DM. on LinkedIn, on YouTube. If you are on YouTube, find me on LinkedIn, and then we can connect that way as well. So, thanks so much. Have a great evening, and we'll talk soon.